So you have the unlimited potential to make 6-7 figures a year. I mean, it's awesome, right? And then you get your license, and then you turn around and you realize no one gives a crap, and no one is going to help you, and no one is going to teach you how to do it. And if you don't have the chutzpah to figure it out, find your systems, find your niche, it's like you're employed, but most agents do not actually behave as if they have a real job.
What's up, guys? We're back. It's the Best Midland Texas Podcast, where we interview business owners, entrepreneurs, and personalities right here in the best city in America, in the world perhaps, Midland, Texas. Today, we've got two amazing guests, twin sisters, Jeaneen and Amber Pruitt. Jeaneen Pruitt is the owner of the Jeaneen Pruitt team right here in Midland. She's been a full-time real estate agent for over 20 years. That seems impossible, but okay, it says it right here on my iPad. Extensive experience in the real estate industry. You've served as a director on the Permian Basin Board of Realtors. That's a mouthful. And president of the Women's Council of Realtors.
Yes.
Correct? Okay. And then with her, again, her twin sister, Amber Pruitt, who's here.
Hello.
Hello. You're one of, almost 20 agents on the team JP.
That's right.
That's awesome.
JP team.
Providing 5-star service to Midland and Odessa area.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Midland and Odessa.
Well, welcome to the podcast. We're so grateful you could make it.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
Again, you've been in the real estate game for over 20 years. So can you just give us a little bit of your background? How'd you get into real estate?
Well, I got into real estate because I was buying a house, and I already was thinking about getting a job. The kids were getting a little older, and I thought one day they're going to be out of high school. And we had a really terrible real estate agent, really. I mean, kind, but not effective, and skill level very low.
Yeah.
And the experience wasn't stellar. And then I thought to myself, well, gosh, if she can make some money doing this, imagine if someone did a great job, right? And so there we go. That kind of put the bug in my ear, or thought process, or however you want to say it. And then I just started looking into it, and then boom, that's it.
Nice.
Did it.
Dove right in.
This
was 2000?
2000.
Okay. What about you, Amber? I think you just celebrated your 10th year, right, in real estate? Is that true?
13 years.
13 years.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so 10 years behind
Yes.
your mom.
My sister.
I see.
That's
Your
her
sister.
sister.
Your mom's sister.
Yes.
Sister mom.
Yep, sister mom. That's weird. So
that
what about
makes
you?
That makes me think of Joe Dirt. I'm your sister.
Oh, my goodness.
She's your sister, dude. She's gotta be, and you made out with her, man. What's wrong with you, you pervert?
So 13 years in the game. So how did you get in? Was your mom like, you're getting in, or what?
Actually, no. I went to East Texas for school. Mom missed me, so I came back home, and I actually got a job in insurance. I worked with Allstate. About a year into that, my mom was like, hey, look, I need someone here that's going to really just liven up the customer service for my clients. A couple of people in the office were disgruntled, and she said, I need your energy. And she kind of already knew how I liked things done. I've been riding in the car with her alongside for years. I knew the lingo. And so after that, I just kind of kindly parted ways from insurance and, entered real estate and started with her when she was, you were at the Victoria Prince team.
Yep, I was at the Victoria Prince team. That's
Yes.
right.
Nice. I bet real estate's a little more exciting than insurance.
Absolutely. Except insurance after 5, they have to call a 1-800 number.
Oh.
All right.
So
What's the latest y'all have gotten phone calls?
If the client's sober or if they're drinking.
Oh, yeah.
If
Very
they're
good question.
drinking,
Whoa.
that's our next video. Might have jot that down. The drinking.
We will not be releasing names.
No, they might bug you sometimes up to midnight, and sometimes they do drink and get a bit irrational and even really worked up, and you just try to wrangle through that the best you can. So
Is that mostly buyers or mostly sellers? Or
both.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. They're really eager.
Yes, that's right. They're eager. Sellers are worried. Buyers are anxious because if they're making an offer, the buyer wants the house.
Makes sense.
Sellers want to know, why hasn't the house sold? Or they want to know, why are these buyers trying to take advantage of me? Why are they offering me less money? Why do they want my couch? That's a thing.
Yeah.
Yes, the couch.
Why do they want my personal stuff?
Okay, so what sets the Jeaneen Pruitt team above all the other real estate agents and agencies here in town?
Wow, that's a hard question to answer and an easy question to answer. Difficult because we're surrounded by so many great agents that we work with on a daily basis.
Yes.
So you always want to give them some props too. I think what sets us apart is we try to have a person in every role. So, specified roles with specific tasks so things flow smoothly through the pipeline of real estate is very important. I also think our culture, the fact that we actually are family-like, we operate as a family, which some days it's 99% good, but with a 1% family curve, But it's still consistency and caring. I think the consistency, professionalism, caring, and the fact that we just really kick ass. I mean, we're very competitive, so
It's a competitive market, of course.
Yeah.
life's competitive.
That's true. That's a good point. How about you, Amber? What sets you apart? You want to talk trash or?
No, actually, I don't have too much trash.
Okay, well, all right.
I took it out before I came here.
We'll try.
So, no, we do. We are surrounded by some really great agents, agencies, brokers, etc. But I think the biggest thing what sets us apart is we're not trendy. We really are. We have branded like customer service, just really being there for the clients, listening to them, and not wham bam, thank you, ma'am. There's the closing. Where's our check? We still follow up afterwards. We end up forming some really great friendships with them, end up going to birthday parties and weddings. So we really get to be a part of the journey way beyond they've purchased the home or they've sold the home and moved to the lake house. So I think that's what it is. It's the connection that we have.
Nice.
I do too, and I think it's like, so do the basics at a very high level consistently.
Yes.
That's it. Do the basics at a high level consistently. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. The client experience isn't rinse and repeat, but attending to those details is the rinse and repeat, right? Getting the paperwork on time, everything happening on time. So
Okay, so I've got to bring this up now. So this whole mother-daughter dynamic here, working together, it feels like it's a reality show waiting to happen. I mean, is there how is it working together?
you go. Sister, you tell the story.
There you go. Ooh.
Okay. Oh, you're finally going to let me have a turn, huh?
All right. Somebody call Bravo right now.
No, it's funny. Some days I think, we won't get along personal, but I'm like, you know what? We can still work together.
Yeah.
Because we at least have that common ground.
Yeah.
We know how to turn that off and just be real estate agents and co-workers. And, I still follow her. I still look up to her. Like, I still think of her as boss lady, although we're all kind of just, free agents. But it's been really great.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I love it. We kick ass.
Yeah. I like having her down because it's like having your best friend every day. You may not agree with your best friend every day.
I fully agree.
But man, I would not
Yes.
want to do it with anyone else. I love having her there, and I like that she knows me, so that if I'm a bit, sharp or grouchy, she knows something's wrong. I know, Mom. What happened, Mom? Did somebody hurt your feelings? Did you not get any good sleep? So it's nice to have someone that just has that history. And the same thing with her. I can kind of look at her and kind of know, I think I better field something off or head it after, or go ahead and do something that would normally be something I'd ask her for because she's, maybe not feeling good. Like she has 2 ear infections right now is a good example of that. So,
Sorry to make you wear these headphones. I
Oh,
promise.
no. It's, I can actually hear now.
yeah. Yeah.
A couple days ago, I got it.
Ouch.
No, but it's a great journey for sure. It's still going. Lots of years ahead of us, but I could totally see a reality TV show.
Well, I think one thing is a lot of people wouldn't know. Were you 14? When you were 14 years old, we couldn't have a conversation. Literally could not look at each other and talk. We were like 2 wet cats in a room. So the way we communicated was by writing letters. And this is just one example. It would be, Dear Amber, I'm sorry that I blah, 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 blah. I truly love you, blah, 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 blah. And I would just leave it on her pillow. And then she would read it and then leave me a letter, be like, Dear Mom, I really do love you. I'm sorry I said
Y'all are
that
gonna
I
make me
hated your
cry.
guts. I'm sorry I said I hated your guts and I couldn't wait to get out of your house. No, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, we all said stuff like that at 14.
that's every
Yes.
teenager hates their, and so that's how we communicated for like a year. And so I felt like we did a lot of that early on, as just mom, daughter, bickering, bantering, her pushing boundaries and letting me know that she's not me and that she doesn't want to be me and she's her own person,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly where it's at. I ain't trying to fill them shoes, girl. Them heels too high for this 5'10".
even if something, gets out of whack from the personal side, you still keep it professional because it's the end goal that really matters, right? And, you guys can make up after the sale.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and you just have to be good at apologizing. I mean, I think it matters when you blow it, you just blow it. And you just say, I'm sorry, that was rude. I wouldn't talk to anyone else on the team that way. Why in the world do I think I could speak to you in that way? Right. And same thing for her.
Yes.
Another agent wouldn't cross that boundary when we're dealing in a professional setting.
Yeah.
You just have, but you do blow it, and then you just apologize and say, hey, listen, we're going to regroup and do this better. So.
And it's followed up by a really good bottle of wine. So.
Okay, so let's talk. I mean, people want to know, what's the real estate market like right now in Midland? If you're thinking about buying a home, you're already here, or thinking about you're thinking about relocating because of work or something like that, let us know what's going on right now.
Well, nerd alert. Now we're going to get nerd alert. So, what's going on in the real estate market today is 431 active listings, and that would be single-family homes, townhomes, and modular. I don't really count the mobile home homes. Not hating on mobile homes at all. I'm just saying there's not very many of them typically.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so we've noticed a decline. The fourth quarter, we talked about that, Ryan, was really interesting because business stopped, statistically around 25 to 26% of sales down in October, November, December. Nationwide, that looked at about 35%. And we just got back from a big conference in New York, and they called it nationally. CEOs from EXP, Compass, Keller Williams, the buyer strike. They called that was the term they were used, which I thought was very applicable. Buyers have had it. The market has been a seller's market for a long time, and then now rates jumped to 7 in order to lower, inflation. And they're just sick of it. So they were like, we're out, we're done, we don't want to do this. And during that time, as sales dropped, inventory did not increase. That's something we're going to repeat. Inventory didn't increase. Why is that significant? Because any other time, demand stops or slows, what happens with supply? Everything's supply and demand.
Right.
Supply did not grow. And so historically, that is a difference. That's the difference in this market with other markets. And here we are in Midland, Texas, 431 homes, like I just told you. That's low. What that means is 3.1 months of inventory. If nothing else comes on the market at the current rate of sales, we will be out of homes in 3.1 months. And a buyer's market, they used to say, looks like 6 months of inventory, and under 6 months is a seller's market. That's a bit general, in my opinion, but the market still favors the seller. But because they did have the buyer strike, buyers were able to negotiate. 86% of the contracts in the fourth quarter nationwide had seller concessions.
Wow.
Well, that's a big deal. For our buyers that were wanting some help, closing cost help, we were so happy. I mean, it was such a great day because I'm a very fair person, and I love when sellers get top dollar, but I also like it when buyers get a chance to have a say and pick their closing date, and if they have a house to sell, maybe have their contingency accepted. So that did change, and I was very happy about that. That being said, as rates are now normalizing, somewhere in the 6s, inventory is creeping back down again. Buyers are coming back into the market. So we have been trying to tell people, and if you follow me, I hope y'all guys follow me. I've been trying to tell you, if you're wanting to buy and you want some concessions, let's go ahead and do that. Don't wait till the spring market when it's hot and heavy, because if inventory drops below 3 months, you're going to get less concessions. There's going to be more today. Just let's talk about today. How many offers did you have on your listing today, Amber?
5.
Dang.
And how many did we say no to because we had to stop it at 5 because the seller was done with showings?
Oh, gosh, 2.
We could have had probably 7. But it's up to the seller, right, how much they can tolerate on showings and get out of your house.
Oh, I see. Okay.
We had 10 for in. We finally got it under contract. Buyer number 2 comes in, significantly higher backup offer.
Wow.
Offered buyer number 1 $5,000 to go away. Buyer number 1 would not go away. Offered buyer number 1 $7,500. Go away so we can buy this house. And they said, no. I'm just I was like, wow, haven't had that happen in a while. So these are indicators, and that's something we talked about with Leanne Price at Supreme Lending yesterday. My opinion is good, but I don't hold much stock in it. The numbers don't lie. The data should always support the opinion, and you can never be in anything so long that you think your opinion matters. My opinion doesn't matter. I just gave you 2 significant marketing indicators to back up what I'm telling you. And that is another thing that differentiates us because I'm a nerd. And so I can talk stats. I could do this for 2 more hours, Ryan. I mean, we could literally dive in to the nation economy and talk about what the hell's happening all day long.
What about like everybody wants to know like the median home prices and how they, I guess, compare to, you know, maybe the rest of the nation?
I don't think we're as high as other markets, like just in our specific area in Texas.
Yeah, so we're at 374-ish, depending on what report you look at.
Okay.
Is it, and then our average sales price on our team is $423,000. So we're a little bit higher than that. But when we went to that big conference, we were in a room. People were like, "What's your average sales price?" $1.2 million, and I'm like,
gosh, yes.
Do you know how many sandwiches we have to sling to make a sale around this place, people? I mean, you're over there. I sold 8 houses and I did $8 million. We'll do $8 million divided by 374,000. That's our market. But I agree. Surrounding counties probably have a lower median.
Well, even Odessa probably has a lower median.
Oh, absolutely. People are actually now they're really considering the commute. Just because they're like, you can pick up the house here in Midland, same house, put it in Odessa, and it's about $20,000 cheaper.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so they're considering buying a house in Odessa and commuting for work to Midland?
Everyone is like, that's okay. 22 minutes, we'll do it because they're going to get the house that they want for the price that they like. And but we've always seen that Odessa's market has been behind Midland's market.
Yeah.
So.
When there's the oil, oil goes down, the blue-collar workers are the first to notice they're not getting the overtime, and they might lose their job or get cuts first in Odessa. And then it trickles to Midland for, I guess, more executive levels. But then in the inventory, it'll shrink here first, and they'll have more houses in Odessa. And that's what Amber's speaking of. They'll say, gosh, I don't like what I can get in Midland. There's not many choices, so let's go to Odessa. There's more choices. But it eventually finds Odessa. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. What are some pros and cons about living in Midland, in your opinion?
Well, I think a pro is everybody's very kind. I think that's one of the things that's kept me here my whole life is just people. I really like the people.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pro. I think the con is the service. It sucks. I mean, unless you're a local restaurant or Chick-fil-A, something about Chick-fil-A, it's really, the service stinks. Like, I personally don't enjoy eating out a lot of the time because I feel like we don't get good service.
You're saying like the service from the chains?
Yeah, like the waiters and waitresses.
Gotcha.
I'm not being ugly to them. Maybe they're not getting paid very much. Maybe their management isn't very good. But I feel like you go to Lubbock, the service at restaurants is because they have the community with the college there. So
They like their jobs.
I think another pro is per capita. We have a lot of money here. So the mindset of the people and the quality that's one thing I love about Midland. You've got a lot of rich oil money, a lot of businesses funded by families of the rich oil money. So we have a great local business setup. Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't you think? Like Cork and Pig and that whole Ally Village. I love that.
That's a great spot.
Yeah.
Gosh.
What would you tell somebody who's never been here before, but now you're finding out they're moving here?
If the sky looks red, don't go outside. You're about to get a dirt facial. It's like some kind of West Texas microdermabrasion.
If you don't like the weather today, it'll change in 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Like 80 one day, 50 the next.
Yeah, the weather
Freezing
here
a week
is,
before.
is wild, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're going to wear a dress, wear appropriate undergarments.
Oh, gosh.
Because that's a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That wind will get you.
That wind will get you.
Have your
get
Maryland moment.
I use the Spanx slip because it's got the little glue strips on there. So if your dress falls up, that's not like, the show.
This episode is brought to you by Spanx. Get you some. They got the little strips on them.
So how do we get them jazzed up about being here? I mean, what I think gets people here is high-paying jobs. There are a lot of high-paying jobs here, and that's usually what brings a lot of them here. And then once they get here, I think it's a great place to raise your family. I truly believe it's a cool place to raise your kids. We don't have as much the old, Mayberry situation like we used to back in the days. Our city is changing, thank goodness, and getting more amenities and stuff. But I do think you kind of have that smaller town feel to raise your kids.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah.
And I love the sports. That's another thing I love. Like kids sports is like big deal.
Oh,
so
yes.
It's a great place
Huge
to meet
community for
people,
that.
make friends, kids make friends. Yeah.
What's the day in the life of a real estate agent like?
Wake up before your kids even get in the car to go to school. You're returning emails, text messages, and then you've probably got a few voicemails because I've just established, unless it's like a pending contract or negotiation, I'm not going to talk to you after 10 p.m. That's just, not that I'm not going to, but just I have to sleep.
Yeah.
Nobody wants a cranky agent. So then, usually I'm stuck after I drop my kids off. I'm stuck with, in my PJs or robe or whatever with my coffee, looking up some kind of social media thing my mom sent me to review because we're fact finders here, making phone calls because at that point it's good to call people back. It's not too early, and coffee, 3 cups of coffee later, you finally get dressed. It takes me forever to get dressed, though, sometimes because I've not mastered the putting on the eyeshadow and brushing the teeth while listening to a client. So while they're on speaker, that's probably my struggle because I always want to answer the phone and talk to them, but it's like I can't have tea time. I don't get out of the house if I do that.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you multitask and then you're presentable? And next thing you know, you think you have your whole day planned out. Like you're going to go to a listing appointment and then you're going to have a few hours to grab something to eat, and then you've got some showings at 6. Well, yesterday it was, by the way, I leave town tomorrow and I want to look at 5 rentals. After the 5 rentals, actually, I think that I want to buy something. Do you have a lender? Okay, great, here's the lender. And then it's like, hi, meeting new clients at 6, and then get home at 9:20, and then you're literally scarfing down like room temperature pizza from Cork and Pig. Yep. Yeah, and then, half a glass of wine, and then back to the emails.
Yikes.
Whoa.
So I think it's like you take your day and you have a plan,
Yes.
and then you wad it up, you throw it away.
Jeez. Yeah. How do you stay organized?
Well,
Toss it
it's-
out the window.
I'm telling you, I don't really. Some days you're just not, and that's the biggest challenge. Is you have your ideal day where you're efficient and you're productive, but your day is always interrupted by. And interrupted doesn't mean negative, by the way, but you are interrupted, disturbed to a client's needs. At the end of the day, if you're not having meaningful conversations with buyers and sellers, you're not doing your job.
Absolutely.
So you have this dream list of, I'm going to get to the office, I'm going to do this, I'm going to put this in the computer, I'm going to get organized. And then the call comes. And when the call comes, you've got to take it. Carpe diem. If you're not, there's 968 or something like that realtors in town. The top 20% do all the business. The top 8% do most of the business. So if you're not going to answer your phone call, someone will. Don't worry about that. Go ahead and hit decline, and someone will take that. And so that day, to adhere to that schedule, although it's like nice PJs, it's warm, it's fuzzy, it's rewarding, I feel like I've got my life together on those days. That could be a $15,000 decision.
Yeah.
Think about that. You get your, I don't want to take your call. Okay, fine. So, and then you're like, well, was that day worth, $400,000 divided by a 3% commission? Hell no, it wasn't.
Right.
That's why we do it. And therein is the cheese before the mouse. Always the cheese before the mouse, because that day is very expensive. So you're waiting on a day to do all the things you'd like to do when no one is calling you. But if no one's calling you, what does that mean?
You should be calling.
Yeah. So it's weird. It's weird. I mean, it sounds crazy, and you have to like that. You have to like, hey, Amber, we're going to do this, this, and this, and go scrap that. Now we're doing this, this, and this. And, and by the way, we're going to do this, this, and this.
So it's not ADHD that I have. Okay.
Okay. You're good.
Getting off of WebMD. It's just real estate. Good to hear. Good to hear.
I read a stat that said 80 to 90% of new real estate agents don't make it to their 3rd year. Why is that?
It's because they have an unrealistic expectation about what real estate is. You see everyone looking cute, going to the mixers, exchanging business cards, get your hair done, put it on a sign, but then nothing happens. So, or they didn't pair up with a great broker for some training. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of agents that just don't even send an offer piece together. I mean, you're literally printing it out and piecing it for them. They don't call and talk to you. They text you and say, hey, bring in this here. And I have no idea who they are. There's no introductions. And so it's almost like they operate like they're not going to have any rapport. They're not going to have any longevity in the field. Or, I mean, there are things like, you have to get a steady job because it really is a wheel. I mean, the minute you quit spinning the wheels, there's nothing in your pipeline. There's no contacts. There's someone else right behind you that's going to do what you're not doing, whether you're too tired. And, unfortunately, even with like family tragedies and such, I mean, there's someone always.
They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care. I promise you,
they
don't
care,
care.
but they don't care.
Right. They're
Nobody cares beyond their own needs.
It is very stressful. You really have to learn how to unload because you end up being a counselor some days.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot.
So you have the unlimited potential to make 6-7 figures a year. I mean, it's awesome, right? And then you get your license, and then you turn around and you realize no one gives a crap, and no one is going to help you, and no one is going to teach you how to do it. And if you don't have the chutzpah to figure it out, find your systems, find your niche, it's like you're employed, but most agents do not actually behave as if they have a real job. Imagine that I can make all this money and now I look cute. First thing they focus on is the fluff marketing, which drives me crazy. You know, everybody's got a team. It's them and their Pekingese dog. That's their team. Like, you don't got a team, you know, or they have a team and they've sold 7 houses. That's a team with 7 houses? Oh, my God.
The whole team sold 7 houses.
But anyway, so they start with the fluff. They start with the marketing. They create the image of success. But then at some point, that doesn't work. Yeah. At some point, guess what happens? You really have to succeed. And how do you succeed in our business? You help a buyer buy a house and you help a seller sell a house. It's real simple. But it's up to you to find the buyers, find the sellers, and sell yourself and learn your systems and learn the paperwork. And that's why in 3 years, and some of them, like, they'll start off with all the fluff and the hype, and then they burn through their referral source. So they have, I have all these friends that are going to buy houses. When about 2 years, you've sold them all houses. And statistically, they're going to stay in their house 10 years. So now what do you got to do? Well, now you're back where you were year one. Get off your ass. Treat it like a real job. Get up in the morning, get a plan, work the plan, come home at 6 or 7, like any of us would do. If we opened a pizza joint, you'd be at the pizza joint at 5 a.m., you'd probably leave about 10 a.m., but not in real estate. You're going to make sure you're cute, you're going to have great pictures, you're going to brag about yourself, you're going to act amazing on Instagram, but then guess what? You can't pay the bills.
Yeah.
If you're not helping buyers, you're not helping sellers, there's no money to pay the bills. And the average agent only sells 4 to 5 homes a year. Well, let's do the math. $400,000 house times 3% is $12,000. Times 4 is what? $48,000.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam gets 30% of that, so you don't even get the $48,000. And then you have expenses, and then you have gas, which is expensive right now. So now, where are we? Are you back at $27,000? And that's the average agent. How long can you survive on $24,000 a year? You can't.
Well, I think something that probably maybe, I don't know, new real estate agents don't understand is, like, nobody's just going to, like, walk up to them when they're, like, at the mall and be like, hey, can you sell me a house? Like, they have to actively go out there and find those leads after they've already blown through all their friends to buy a house, and probably hard for people.
When I'm thinking, I see real estate agent, I'm thinking like, oh, everybody's on $1 million listing,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yes.
And then you're coming back and saying, like, I mean, if you're making $25,000 a year, you're in the first couple of years, you're doing well. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking about getting into real estate, or I just got my license and I'm about to start year one. What is your most important advice to those people out there who are jumping in headfirst right now? Other than don't watch $1 Million Listing, because that's not realistic for you in your first year.
Interview a good broker, figure out what their training strategy is, because, you know, you definitely want to be somewhere where you're going to learn the basics. Now, you're going to put your own spin on it, but you just, you know, like the contract writing, all those are really important things, and there's a lot of newer agents that don't even know that, don't even have that craft down, and that's the core of our career. I would really want to mirror someone, maybe be an apprentice. See how they do it.
Okay.
Because, I mean, save yourself some time, maybe even some money, maybe even a lawsuit, and figure out how they did it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just find a mentor, someone that you can go. I mean, even if you're, you know, just typing up contracts on the side for money, that's practice. You know, get your, do all that basic, so that way you can really come out great. And that's where I'm at in my career. So I've been on the JP team for 13 years now. So I'm an OG member. It was my mom started it. You know, she brought me in, and it was me and one other agent. And so here I am now, 5+ years, full-time sales only. But I really have got to see the ins, the outs. I've learned to be proactive, not reactive. And it's really been a great thing for my career, because I'm not just offering my name, I'm offering the experience, the knowledge, how it needs to be done, and not just saying it needs to be done because I say it. No, it needs to be done this way because this or this or this could happen. And I'm really able to prepare people. So, I mean, honestly, all that information, I mean, yes, get the headshot, you know, get the new blazer, look cute, but I mean, pair with someone. You don't want to be in a room or, 15 other new agents look the same. You want to be somewhere where the reputation's there, the training's going to come, and then doors will open.
Yeah. There are some people that love the spotlight and they want to be a star. There's not a darn thing wrong with that. Then there's other people who are fine being part of a constellation. If you're a constellation type person, think about maybe a team. A team might work, but it will not work if you want to be a star, because what happens when one star starts hollering, I'm brighter than you, yeah, that does not work. So
Right.
I would say be honest about your nature. And so at our team, we used to have it required that you had to sit behind the desk for 2 years. And after 2 years, you could transition into full-time sales because you had such a good knowledge of contracts and pitfalls and that type of thing, and client service, and just the systems, and how to find a house in Navica, and how to pull comps on a property. But that's kind of, those days are gone. No one wants to serve, and I don't want to say no one. Very few people want to serve. I used to tell every new agent, I've got the experience, you've got the time. Let's leverage my experience, and we're going to leverage your time. And if you can find a relationship like that, man, that is awesome. So I used to, back in the day, grab them coffee, pick up their stuff, empty their trash cans. Really, anything they needed, I was there. How can I help you? Who will show a house at 8 o'clock tonight? I will. Who will go show Saturday and let their kids sit in the car? I will. Who wants to go to Odessa to show a rental? I will. Why? Because that agent didn't want to do it. So she was looking for someone that would serve. And because there's a price. Nothing's free. The price to be trained and the price to learn is serving. And your splits aren't great. You're not going to make 100% of your commission. But if you're at the right place, you're getting a PhD,
Yeah.
I'm curious, how has social media and the rise of video and short form video, how has that changed the game in real estate?
Well, I think it's a generation thing, right? So, you've got the millennials and Gen Z and all that, but, instant gratification. People don't want to try too hard or look too far to get the answers that they need. And so it's really caused real estate agents to have to step their game up if they're getting on that platform, because it's like, how are you going to stand out past the other person who got on Wikipedia and can say the same thing? So I think the reason why it's working for her is because you've got the stories.
I think it changed it in a negative way. But this is an old school 52-year-old real estate broker. Everybody that has a camera and is tech savvy suddenly looks like they are the number one agent in town. And I know what everybody sells in town, by the way, and I'm going to look at the camera because I know how many homes you sell because I look at the reports on a weekly basis. And so, but then I see their social media and the hype. I'm great. I'm number one. I just did this. I just did that. And the consumer believes it. The consumer sees, Sally Shiny bragging on social media, goes to Sally. Sally doesn't have the skill. Sally is going to have the skill as her career and knowledge grow, and we've all been her, not a problem being her, but they mislead the consumer. Now the consumer thinks they're with someone that's an expert, and they are not. I wish that the credentials would follow or accompany the hype.
Meanwhile, they just bought the followers, right? But it was the thing to the average person, it was just a perception. It was like, they must know what they're talking about, because why would all these people follow them from click farms in Indonesia that they don't know? You know what I mean?
I always say the scale doesn't lie, your bank account doesn't lie, your volume of sales does not lie. So any consumer should look at the numbers, right? It's about the numbers. So you would just say, hey, listen, how long have you been in business? It could be 5 years and you're a superstar. That happens. How many homes have you sold? How many homes per month do you sell? What is your average? So just asking a few questions. And if they stutter, they don't know.
As a buyer or a seller,
Yes.
you should come into interviewing your new agent, essentially.
Absolutely.
Right, with those questions at
Yes.
hand. Okay, really weed them out.
It's the largest investment of your life. Do you want to work with a friend because she has her license? Maybe you do. There's nothing wrong with that. But know what you're getting into. If you're a buyer, we ask every buyer, when do you like to look at homes? Do you like to look at night? Do you want to look on weekends? Why? You don't want to hire a real estate agent that starts drinking at 4, for God's sakes, and you want to go look in 6 to 9. Or maybe you have an agent that has little kids and she's not available in the hour, those hours. But you want to know, will you be available to show me homes when I want to go? We talk to every buyer about that. Okay. Or a seller, how many homes have you sold? Do you know how to negotiate? What is your average list price versus sales price ratio? Or do you just lay down when negotiations get hard?
Do you lay down when negotiations get hard? Boom. That's the opener.
That is.
There we go.
That's the
That's
opener.
it.
I just wish people would vet the agents a little better.
Okay. Other than just how many followers do you have on social media?
Or even what they tell you.
So from the number of 2022, number of homes sold, to your compared to your first year number of homes sold, what's yours, Jeaneen?
Well, I mean, gosh, we closed 250 homes 2022.
Whoa.
And I think I sold, like, based on my $15,000, 2 houses, 3 houses a year. I mean, not much.
Okay.
Yeah, it took me a while. I remember when I finally ranked up to number 72 as a real estate agent out of all the agents in town. And, but it probably not much, I was slow. It was hard to learn.
What about you, Amber?
Ooh, gosh.
First year to now.
Man, first year. Actually, I got really lucky my first year. I picked up some buyers at an open house, and they were building a new construction home by McPherson. And I think it was like $463,000, or the home was. And so I was pretty happy about that commission check. So I felt so motivated. Now, have I had that much luck with open houses? No, but I still love getting to meet people. And then to now, we work deals together, so it's more like
A lot.
gosh, a lot.
A lot.
It is a
Okay.
lot.
So that's what you can look forward to. You stay in the game. I mean, it's you can't get intimidated by the first 2 years. It's like who's up? You got to
Persistence.
persistence.
Well, kind of going back to the social media thing, and there's obviously an age difference between us, but
No, how dare you.
I can see how being, kind of around my age and looking at all the people, it's all shiny and you want to get in and then it's not working for you. And then you kind of feel defeated and comparing yourself. But I just always say, do what's hard first, and then it gets easier. And then really just put your blinders on. I mean, people want our time. So if you're there to give them your time, then, and you'll find out a lot of people are very gracious. And they'll walk with you while you're growing, and never be afraid to say, I don't know. Just say, I'm not sure. I know someone who does. Let me check with them. Don't be afraid to rely on your resources. I mean, if we all ran around like we were a bunch of know-it-alls and stuff, I mean, it's like pulling the curtain of the Great Wizard of Oz.
And we were talking about that the other day. So this is, the old dog versus the new dog. The new agent has to know everything. If you ask them a question, they will know. What are interest rates? Blah, blah, blah. What is this? Blah, 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 blah. If you ask an old agent, we're like, we kind of have an idea, but I don't know. Let me go check on that. Let me just double check. A good example would be yesterday. I had a guy, not my client, working with another agent. I care very much about the other agent, not trying to poach, but a mutual friend said, do you agree with what they were told by their agent on if they buy this house, it'll sell for $300,000? And I said, well, old dog. Well, I don't know. I mean, what is the address? What is he paying for it? How many square feet does it have? And I looked it up, and I thought, I kind of feel more comfortable with 275. I'm not predicting the future. No one really knows. And so I just told my friend, I said, I would just say, Jeaneen says 275. The other agent may have data that I'm not privy to, but that's what I think. But my point is that that's the old dog. The new dogs know everything. And I think don't you think that in any business, that's the mistake? You can't be 100% knowledgeable.
Sure. I'll use my experience, but let me do a little research, and that might go a longer way, because then they're thinking like, okay, you're more calculated about this,
Yes.
right? Than just going like, yeah, that sounds about right. Let's go with it.
If I can predict the subject of a phone call, like I know what a client's calling about, I'll try to do some fact finding and kind of build a script in my head. That way it's just, it flows better. I'm not stuttering. I don't look like I don't know what I'm doing or talking about. And then I really have just some live data to give them. So if they go to try to verify it, it's there. I'm not just pulling it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like this particular person, the appraisal came in, that would be 255. It came in at 240, 15,000 less. And so seller will not reduce the price. So either you're going to buy the house for this amount or you're not going to get the house. And so that's what my friend was asking me about. And I said, well, give me some details. And then I'm like, well, number one, right, when you're buying a house, it's the square feet. And so I was like, well, in the MLS, the house showed to have, let's just say, 1,958 feet. And then on the appraisal, it had more square footage. So I said, well, when you bought the house, you thought you were going to pay $129 a foot. If the appraiser measured it larger, it came in 15,000 less, but much larger. So he actually gave it $128 a foot value. So an inexperienced agent would say, just terminate. He's not going to come down. But an educated agent will say, wait a minute, now you have this many square feet, and you actually valued it at 128, and you were okay paying 129. Buy the house, don't buy the house. That's totally your decision.
Sure.
But we're not going to make it sound like the guy totally sucks because the seller's not going to come. I mean, everything is relative, and if you're going to keep it 10 years, what does $15,000 mean?
Right.
In this case, he was going to rent it. Does $15,000 matter on a rental income over 10 years? No. Because what's dirt going to cost in 10 years if you don't buy this one?
To be a real estate agent, you better be a mathematician, apparently. There's a lot of calculations you're doing in that head.
Yes. So I would hope
Jeez.
so. Oh
I'd
my God.
I'd have the calculator to be like, all right, we're not working with you, buddy. That's how you just pull out your phone.
You're advocate.
You're out of here.
I mean, I do use my phone a lot too, but I'm just saying, it is about numbers. But, I'm suck at math, by the way. I actually failed math most of my education until I learned this important thing, which actually there's a psychology to the dollar sign. I don't know math either, but if you put a dollar sign there, I damn sure know.
Oh, okay.
I damn sure
changes
know.
that number a
Oh,
lot.
I tell you, it does. It now has meaning.
Nice.
That's why I never found X. There's no dollar sign.
There was no dollar sign. Yeah.
Last question. Let's talk about the future. So, what is the future of the Jeaneen Pruitt team? Like, what's going on? Like, where are the goals? What's happening over the next 5-10 years? Where are we looking towards? Are we expanding outside of Midland? Are you going to take all over Texas, or what are the?
I don't see how I would have time to do that. But are we expanding? Yeah, it would be nice to kind of serve a few other areas, but that's not our primary goal. I think our primary goal is just to be better. Just to get better, to be better. That's why I just went to 2 conferences. Is just be better. Higher level of service. So basics at a very high level, consistently, and the basics keep changing. Consumer, back to what you're asking about internet and tools and social media, you've got to continually grow and get better. So I think we'll probably add a few agents, but the right agents. I don't think we're interested in growing in volume anymore. We're certainly big enough. But if we had right fits that had the same drive and the same dedicated level to expertise, never turn that away, right? Because again, what are we here for? For our community and for our consumer. So we're not going to turn down something that's good for the community and good for the consumer. So I think we will grow. I'm going to write a book. That's going to be kind of fun.
wow.
I'm working on it now,
wow.
so that's kind of fun.
What about you? What about you, Amber? I mean,
in Dream World, I would love to expand the JP team to like another city with like water and trees that I can move to. But,
okay. Okay. So for example, if you got the chance to still be doing exactly what you're doing in with the Jeaneen Pruitt team, but you could only choose one other city in America to
that's a
sell
good one.
homes, which one? What would it be?
So it does not have to be in Texas.
It doesn't have to. Might not have a Whataburger, but
yeah,
I mean,
pick it. Let's go.
Oh my gosh.
This is fun.
where's that amazing real estate market that you would love to tackle?
Oh, it'd probably be somewhere in Florida.
Okay.
Absolutely, like Southern Florida. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it could be like the luxury branch.
All right. So like
Like Palms.
Miami Beach.
Yes.
You're thinking. Okay.
Yes, I would. Of course, Dream World, right?
For sure. Of course.
Yeah, Naples, Florida.
Naples.
Okay.
Well, didn't Jason Oppenheim just open an office down there?
Yes, he did.
Oh, see,
See,
Jeaneen. Huh?
sell them in Palm Beach.
Yeah.
What about you, Jeaneen? I mean, if you weren't in Midland, where would you be selling homes?
It would be a lifestyle I would be selling,
Okay.
not necessarily just the home. And I think that would be a lot of fun. If I was going to do something just really creative, you've got this amazing property, this amazing view, and it's all about selling the lifestyle, that would be fun. And you'd probably have more international buyers, I would imagine.
Okay.
You're going to be, so you'd really have to, which that would be a job to figure out. Because if you watch those shows, when they broadcast a new listing, they're talking to China. They're going outside of the country to possibly bring. And also the other thing that I think would be another niche market that I would wished I had gotten into earlier was to work with athletes and high-end executives. That is that would be my total jam. 100% confidential, cannot be a fan, guiding them through the things, getting them placed before the public knows. I would love that.
Can you break a myth or anything like what's going on with that show, House Hunters? Like, I feel like international House Hunters, like it feels like a scam a little bit.
It does.
Okay.
It does. I feel it's
These people are like, it's got to be beachfront. It's got to be 7,000 square feet. And then they're like, okay, well, what's your price? And they're like, 250,000. Let's make it happen. And by the end of the episode, they're like, boom, we got them in. I'm like, wait, how does that work?
and they had options.
Yeah.
That was so strange. I'm like that. That's
Well, sometimes at the end they'll be like, in the end, the buyer was able to raise their budget up.
Yeah,
I'm
like
like-
$30 million. Okay.
in
all
the
right.
end the buyer was
So
unrealistic.
don't believe these TV shows, all right, about real estate.
Well, I think, probably they looked at, I've never, ever, ever, ever found anyone. I'm going to go shoes because I happen to have over 200 pairs of shoes.
Whoa,
I have never.
Marcos
Yeah,
over here.
there we go. I love shoes. So I'm going to go look at 2 pairs of shoes, and that's all I can look at is 2 pairs of shoes, and I must choose. Okay, that would not work. So they're really looking at more than 2 houses or 3, so that somebody's narrowing it down because a buyer would never go for that. Can
Yeah.
you imagine coming to a city and I'm going to give you 3 choices and you must pick one?
Right.
They've already picked it. That's what they say. They've looked at a bunch, narrowed it down to 3 for the show, but they had already selected. And another thing, thinking time is expensive. If you did find a good deal at these price points and you only had 3 choices, you can't go over there and have a beer and play with the dog on the beach like they do because the house is already sold.
No, my favorite moment is when they're, they meet at a coffee shop and the agent's like, all right, here's what they're willing to do. And then it's like, John and Candy, da, 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 da. And it's like they got the house. I'm like, nobody's drinking coffee. They're stressed. You're blowing up the other agent. You're like,
You're like hanging out at happy hour with your real
Or
estate
what
agent?
about I like the lottery show. Have y'all watched that one?
oh my gosh.
That's
my
one
dream,
of my favorites.
my lottery
that guy.
dream home.
Now that I love that because the perspective of what dream means to each of us, is just that's so accurate. I think that show's kind of funny.
This person's dream, they won the lottery. They're like, yes, I can finally put a kegerator in my garage or something. Well, you two, thank you so much for taking the time out today. By the way, we'll put it down in the description, but you probably have one of the better websites. I mean, isellmidland.com. I mean, that's pretty good marketing, if I do say so myself.
That's because no one could spell Jeaneen. At first, I bought JeaneenPruitt.com and then wondered why it was the loneliest place in the world because no one could spell Jeaneen. And then I decided, well, that didn't work, so I did I Sell Midland.
I love it.
Can we do like a throwback video one day? Yeah. Because you're celebrating your 23 years in 23 of you when you first started it and you were in the red suit on the top of the house.
Oh.
And it was the eye with the roof. I Sell Midland.
Oh, we
Just
can
shake
get,
a little hand on
we can
the
get that
roof.
headshot? I like it. Okay.
I have it. And that tagline was, the difference is the realtor.
Oh.
That was my tagline.
She's going to bring back the Brighton 2-strap shoes, too.
200 pairs later, you're
Do you still have the Brighton 2-strap?
all right. So be on the lookout for Jeaneen and Amber's their own podcast and YouTube channel coming up this year in 23. But thanks again. And again, anybody you're looking to buy a home, you're looking to sell a home, you know where to go. The Jeaneen Pruitt team, JP team. Look them up. isellmidland.com. Link all your Instagram and your social media. And thanks again.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank
We
you.
so
Appreciate it. It
fun.
was fun.
All right. We'll see you again next time. Bye. Boom.
Bye.